Okay, this is a bit of a long question. Salam then, I hope you, Ava, and your family are doing well, inshallah. I've been watching your Q&A snaps and I really like your responses to them. So here is my situation. I would like some advice. What would you do if you were in this situation? I'm a non-Muslim, Buddhist, and non-practicing. I've been in a haram relationship. I'm actually doing this because there are speech marks around the haram. Relationship with a Muslim guy for 5 years since high school, and I'm 20 years old now. This guy who I'm with is such a loving, kind, determined, supportive, and respectful person. In the last 5 years, there has been nothing but loyalty, trust, and a lot of communication and faith in the relationship. There was never any jealousy or arguments, and it kind of shocked people when they asked about that. When I was in high school, I started to want and learn about other religions and cultures. I researched on other religions but never touched upon Islam until I met this guy. Over the years, I started researching on Islam myself and I fell in love with Islam. At times, sorry, I'm rushing. I don't want it to be too long. At times, I feel really attached to Islam. When I'm facing some difficulties and feeling hopeless. I make du'as to Allah and listen to lectures. I have fasted during Ramadan. I even bought a Quran for myself. I love the religion. I feel like the reason I got myself to learn about Islam is because of his character, the way he treats his own parents, family, me, and other people, and it is an act of da'wah for me to look into Islam. He knows that I believe in Allah and want to convert, but because my family are non-Muslim, I can't rush into things. I do want to convert one day, inshallah, but not for the sake of converting because I'm with him now. We plan so much for the future, want to get married in 4 or 5 years after finishing college and have a decent job and always have faith in each other, but only Allah knows if we will be able to marry each other or not. I feel sad and cry whenever I think about that. Another problem is that we are not from the same culture. I'm worried that mostly his mum won't accept me because I am different. Being with someone for 5 years before marriage is a lot for me. It might not be a lot for others. We grew up seeing each other grow up in so many things. I'm sure you're probably thinking I sound stupid for saying I put my trust in Allah in this, but sometimes I'm afraid of losing him and won't be as attached to Islam as I am now. Because we're in our 20s, he's 21. Things are going to be very serious in the next few years and I'm starting to overthink. I know everything is all over the place, but can you give me some advice on what you would do? Okay, do you know what, like one thing in my life, what I realised, God, like there are some people, like I always ask my mum and my granddad, and I'm like how does God judge people from different faiths if he's never given them the sign? Because everyone gets their own different sign. Like if someone's exposed to Islam and they decline it, then they'll be judged accordingly. If someone's never been exposed and all they know is their own religion, like how does God judge that? And like my granddad and my mum, like they raised valid points. They say, well, you're literally judged for what trial God puts you through. That's it. Like everyone's that's why you can never ever say, oh, these people are going to go to heaven. You can never do it because you don't know what trial or hardship that God has put in someone's path. You don't know what signs God has put in someone's path and what reaction he was looking for. You just don't know. From what I can see, what it looks like from the outset, it looks like God brought this guy into your life to open your eyes to Islam. And you said yourself, you said you were studying about different religions and you never ever looked at Islam. So maybe the first thing that he did, the first kind of like push he gave you was to get you interested in other religion, but you didn't look into Islam. So the second push he gave you was brought you a guy who, you're madly in love with, who shows all like the good characteristics of a Muslim person to get you interested. And this time now you are interested and you have sort of picked up on the sign. And you're worried that right now you're just really interested in it because you have this guy. But you shouldn't look at it like that. You should look at it the fact that you said you believe in Allah, you trust in Allah, and you pray to Allah. I don't know what else there is, to be honest with you. I mean, apart from the shahada, saying the shahada and converting, I don't know what else there is. Like, you've got all the basics. That's not for this guy. The fact that you pray to Allah so things work out, pray to Allah when you're feeling hopeless, that's not this guy. That's separate from this guy. And I will say this to you, don't attach yourself to anything in this world. Nothing stays in this life. Nothing. Not your partner, not your parents, not your job, not your possessions, nothing. So focus more on the fact that you have that sort of, you know, kind of inbuilt sort of love for God and Allah and and the religion, and you've got your own interest in it right now. Don't account it for the fact that you're with this guy. It might be that God only brought this guy in to get you to look at a religion, and then in a couple of years he might take this guy out. But the way that he'll take him out, you might be very, very open to that. The way maybe you might grow apart in a couple of years. You just don't know. You're still young. Or you might end up together. Like, there's just so much that can happen, but don't focus any interest that you have on a human being. Don't do that. Like, you right now, like, it's such a blessing that God has given you sort of this interest. There's so many people that would not, like, there are so many people that are in your position that would not have that interest. And I know many people that are with Muslim guys and they don't have any interest in converting at all. Like, nothing, like, God sort of brought it to them and they weren't interested. Like, it didn't sort of appeal to them. And the fact that he brought it to you and appealed to you, it's almost like it's God's kind of calling you in a way. So yeah, in your situation, if this was me, like, in fact, you know, it was me. So many times God did call me and I was so stupid. I was like, I had so many dreams. I had so many signs that happened to me in my life. And I might sort of, for 1 month, try and become religious and then sort of break away again and just go back to my old habits. And it took such a big thing. It took the death of my husband to be like literally the final like slap in the face. I got so many signs and I'm so constantly thankful for that, because some people might not even get one sign. Some people might get one sign and that's it. The minute God gives you a sign and you don't take it, I strongly believe that the minute you decline that sort of chance to turn to him, there's one of two things that can happen. If he feels, I don't know, he might feel that he wants to give you another sign, like, which is, you're lucky if that happens, which, alhamdulillah, that happened to me. But the other thing can happen, which is he blinds you more than you're already blind, kind of thing. So if you didn't look at it, if you didn't look at the sign that he gave you, he's going to make you more blind to it. So in a way, you're going to be even further away from the change, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making sense. Okay, so I think it's Surah Baqarah, the second surah in the Quran. This is the verse, don't quote me on this, I'm just trying to go off my memory here, research the verse. But it's something along the lines that they were blind, so he made them even more blind, kind of thing. So he'll push, in a way, when you decline going to Allah, he'll kind of push you even more away. So the way that I understood it and the way that I interpreted it is that when you're doing wrong, this is like sort of more relatable to normal everyday life. If you're doing something wrong and sort of God gives you signs to kind of stop what you're doing, and you don't stop really. You know it's wrong, but you don't stop. God will make you start to believe it's not wrong anymore. And then you start to feel that you're not getting sin for it. They're the worst kind of sins that you can get, because they're the ones that you take lightly. Then eventually you're not going to think you're sinning anymore. And imagine living your life not knowing you're sinning, because you're just so like oblivious and you're so kind of like numbed to what's right and what's wrong anymore. For me, I just see that like this is a massive sign from God. Like literally, you got God saying, "Come to me." Allah saying, "Come to me." Regardless of who this person is in your life, regardless if they're going to stay in your life, regardless if they're going to leave, you have a sign from God telling you, "Come to me." I would go. I would go for it. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying to you, everything that I've read from you, you literally sound like me or any of my other Muslim friends. Like, there's not much difference. Like, we're not perfect. Sometimes our prayers are like late. Sometimes, you know, sometimes we miss a couple of days in Ramadan. We're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. So you've kind of got everything down anyway. I mean, it's just literally the conversion. You never know. You might convert and God might make it even easier, and he might pull you even closer towards him, to a point that even if you did break up with this guy, God forbid, you're never ever going to sort of look back on your conversion or regret your conversion. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Like, you break up with the guy, and if it really wasn't true, your conversion? Like, would you not just be like, okay, I'm going to go back? Like, what's the worst that can happen? If something feels right now, if the conversion feels right now, why stop it? And remember, there's a quote, and it's quite relatable as well to my husband. With me and my husband, God rest his soul, I always had this plan in my mind for us that we were going to get closer to God in the next, like, few years. We're having fun now, we're living our life, we're like, I'll get closer later on, we'll get closer later on. Like, I was like, I'll start praying properly later on, I'll start fasting, I'll put the hijab on later on. I was like, constantly, like, always later on. I'm like, I've got so long to think about this. And the truth is we don't. Because when did he go? He got taken away months after I met him. When he was 25. Did he think he was going to live for 25? No, he probably thought he was going to live a lot longer. He's going to have more time to turn back to Allah. And the one quote that always sticks in my mind is, the graves are full of people who thought that they would turn to Allah in their old age, but old age is promised to no one. So whilst I appreciate that you're planning, like, the next couple of years, you don't know what's right for you. You don't know what's right for your partner. Just do what feels right now. And if converting right now is right for you, then do it. Like, if God is calling you, then there's no need to sort of say, no, I'll wait just in case in 5 years' time, or in, like, wow, if we break up, I'm not going to want it. Well, you can get to that bridge and cross that bridge when you're at it. Don't think about that now. Right now, you feel like you're so close to Allah, you feel spiritual, convert. Like, literally, that's what I would do. In your position, that's what I would do. I hope that wasn't, like, a lot of gibberish. This is a really long video right now. I hope I made some sort of sense, kind of. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on it.